Good to see you once again on my channel. You're welcome to my relationship talk with Kify Duruji. So today I want to take us on a topic that says how to handle arguments in a relationship. A lot of people are always afraid of arguing while in a relationship. They either pretend till they die or they die in bitterness, don't want to argue or say their mind. But I want you to know that argument is normal in life. Mother argues with father, father argues with mother, sisters argue with brothers, and so on and so forth. So it's okay for you to argue with your spouse. After all, you're not born with your spouse. It is not easy to meet somebody who has been living all his life for 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, 35 years, and is coming to partner with you without having differences. So when these differences occur, it is okay to argue, because after all, his mother isn't your mom. There are things his mother taught him differently that your mom may have taught you differently. There are things we were exposed to that he was also exposed to differently. Where he's schooled is not where you school. His friends are different from your friends. It's always normal. He grew up in Lagos, he grew up in Jos. It's two different environments, two different places to reason and to behave. Alright? So it's always okay to see arguments differently, not as terror. Now, so how do you handle arguments in a relationship? Knowing that an argument is not enough reason for you to break off an engagement or break off a relationship. There are better ways to handle arguments. And the first one is this: argue with a meaningful reason. Make sure your arguments are not baseless and senseless. Don't argue over every nonsense. Sometimes just when you see it's going to get hot for nothing, forget about the point. What are you trying to prove? Who's going to win? Okay, when you win the argument, what happens? The love increases or it decreases, or you get money. Why to argue with your spouse so hard that you become so heated and offensive? So make sure that you don't argue senselessly or baselessly. And if you must argue, state your point and make sure it is trashed once and for all. Alright? Don't be afraid afterwards to notice what caused that argument and deal with it so it doesn't occur again. When you deal with it, it will occur again. When you sweep that thing under the carpet, it's going to occur again. And that's a bad one. Alright, and the second one is this. Like I said earlier, two of you were born by different parents, right? And you've grown all your life in different locations, maybe different countries, you know, and different geopolitical zones. So it's always okay to have differences, but make sure that you study your man. Man, make sure you study your woman. Study your temperament. Is she a hot burner? Does she deal with argument or question and answer long enough? If you study somebody long enough, you know the temperament and will know what to make it clash, so you don't involve yourself or engage yourself too long in argument, because if it gets too long, the hot burner will snap out and it gets bad. Alright, so study your man and study your woman. And when they go that way, just say, notice how you're always doing it, but it's okay. The third one is this: always be willing to adjust. See correction, see complaining or talking about it as an avenue to bond. You know, see it as an avenue to get to know your man more or your woman more. And the more they are saying these things that hurt them, it should be a time to bond, a time to know them deeper. It's an avenue to actually get more romantic, you know. Oh, I never knew this hurts you, I'm sorry, cuddle and stuff, alright? So it's also a good avenue to have some romance, not to fight, alright? The fourth one is this: if there is no argument in 6 months or 1 year, no any form of, I don't understand this, I understand that, something is wrong somewhere. It means you're not spending enough time together. Because if you spend enough time together, something will be different from your way. So when somebody is not complaining or trying to adjust or saying, this thing you did, I thought it meant this, it means you're not spending enough time, you're not bonding enough. If you bond enough, you have differences. So make sure that you have actually passed this stage before you have grown enough not to have them anymore. You can't just start off and not have arguments. It's not possible. That's why they tell them in marriage courses. I don't know, I've not been to the courses, but I know they will tell them the first 1 year in marriage or two is the most difficult year, because you get to see things you're not really exposed to or used to. Alright, so while you're dating, actually, there should be time where you don't understand stuff, and it's normal not to understand stuff. You ask about them and get to talk about it and offer to adjust or plead for adjustments or a small change in the approach. All right, so it's quite normal. If you do this quite on time, you avoid unnecessary argument. All right, and the next one is this: argument. Avoid letting the third party come to tell you what to do when these arguments come up. All right, so when you want to argue with your partner, your spouse, make sure that you have done it once, you have prayed about it twice, you have talked about it again before inviting even your mother. Don't make your mother the go-to. He said this to me, "Mommy, is that what my father tells you?" Oh. Or you go to his aunt to go and report him, or you go to his pastor. No, before you get to that point, make sure the pastor is not biased, make sure your mom is not greedy or biased, make sure his aunt too does not have her own special agenda. Alright, so before you involve a third force, a third party in your argument, make sure the argument is so meaningful and there was somebody he respects that he can go talk to help you talk to him, not just to rush your mom, his aunt, his pastor and make him more angry or the woman more offended. So the fifth one is this: whether we like it or not, there are spiritual undertones to some problems. So when you know that you have applied wisdom, when you know you have applied tactics, when you know you have applied different approach, speaking, talking, lovingly talking, shouting, nagging about, and it's not working, before the argument turns to that nagging or turns to that fight, go and pray. Leave him some room or leave her some room and go talk to God about it. And you'll be surprised if there is a spiritual undertone to the problem. You wake up one morning, change. You wake up one morning and apologize and say, I think we've been living like strangers in this house. I want to change. And that's it. The house changes for better, for your good. Alright, so make sure you apply these approaches towards handling your conflicts or handling your arguments in your relationship. And trust me, when you are careful enough to apply them, you come back and thank me. In fact, you can start thanking me now. Drop your thank you message in the comment section. For now, it is bye-bye and see you in my next video.